and
Yeah,
share their
Jai Guruji, Jai Guruji, Sangat ji, Jai Guruji Arvind. It was really great listening to your satsang once again. How time flies. 20 साल पहले अंकल आंटी से तेरे सत्संग सुनते थे, आज तुझसे सुन रहे हैं. So very concise and precise. I mean, you are truly blessed, Guruji's child, as I would like to call you. We all are, of course, but you that was very good. तो सबसे पहले तो संगत जी, I would like to ask for all of yours forgiveness because कहीं ये मेरे सत्संग के अंदर मैं मेरी आ जाए तो मुझे प्लीज माफ कर देना, because satsang by itself brings in a lot of ego. So we need to understand that it is about him. He is the creator, he is the director, he is the producer. We have just played a part in the film that he has made. So I would like to basically ask for forgiveness in advance. So let me start at the very beginning. Guruji ਹਮੇਸ਼ਾ ਕਹਿੰਦੇ ਸੀਗੇ, ਜਦੋਂ ਵੀ ਸਤਸੰਗ ਕਰਾਉਂਦੇ ਸੀਗੇ, ਕਹਿੰਦੇ ਸੀਗੇ ਵਾਟ ਕੱਢ ਨਹੀਂ ਵਰਨ. He used to call me Varun, not Varun. So I start with the year 1995. In fact, before I forget, I would like to thank Arvind once again, and would like to remind him how he inspired me once. Probably he doesn't know about it. जब गुरुजी ने चोला छोड़ दिया था, उससे पहले तो हम जब लंगर करते थे गुरुजी के सामने या गुरुजी के पास, तो जो एंड के जो मॉर्सल्स रह जाते थे, एंड की थोड़ी बहुत व्हाटएवर सब्जी एंड प्रसाद वाज लेफ्ट ऑन द प्लेट, I for one used to basically eat it up, clean it all up with my finger. And then after Guruji left his chola, there was this thing by the mandir that we can only use our spoons to eat the langar, as people who would not have known at that point of time how Guruji operates or at what level he operates. Some of the new at that point of time Sangat had objected to basically people licking their plates or cleaning their plates with the fingers. So at that point of time, I observed and I learned from Arvind that he used to basically keep a small morsel of his roti, chapati prasad till the very end, so that he could clean it up with that chapati prasad. So I just wanted to thank him. Probably I never got an opportunity over these years to thank him for that. Thank you so much, Arvind. Anyways, let us take it forward. The year was 1995. I was suffering from bronchitis / asthma since my childhood days. And in that particular year, the attack was terrible. So I thought probably I will not survive the night on one of those attacks, and that I will conk off in the night itself, because I just could not breathe in spite of using all the inhalers and all the paraphernalia that I had with me. So somehow the night elapsed, and the next day, my maternal aunt, Meri Bua ji, had come over for a day spent. And when she saw me in the state that I was in, she just told me about Guruji कि ऐसे ऐसे गुरुजी नाम के शख्स ग्रेटर कैलाश S block basement में है. He has got curative powers. Why don't you give him a try? Those were the exact words. Why don't you give him a try? तो मरता क्या ना करता वाला हिसाब है. I went to him that very evening. And believe me, whenever we all tend to conjure up an image of the person that we are supposed to meet. Somehow I had a very different perception of the the persona rather, of Guruji that I was going to encounter. And here I was in front of a middle-aged balding man who I could relate with, a villain of that time, a movie villain from the movie Shakal. And I thought, Ekida the Guru again. I mean, the reason I'm bringing this all out is because my journey, of course, he made it a bed of roses, but I was the thorn in my journey all the time. So I need to bring out what all went wrong with me. The problem is always with me. And so I need to basically come out with it, because that is how I guess I will be able to atone my sins. So anyways, I thought, Ekida the Guru again. How is he a Guru? I mean, I could not basically fathom what kind of a Guru he was. And before I could say anything, he said, let us try it. Beja. Those were the very same words that my Bua had said in the morning. Why don't you give him a try? So I sat there. At that point of time, Guruji used to give us Amrit Prasad. Amrit Prasad ki hunda siga, I'm talking about Greater Kailash, and the year was 1995. Kitchen में aquaguard, the water purifier, होता था, and they used to fill up about 8, 10, 12 steel glasses, bring it on a tray. Sevada used to bring it on a tray, and then Guruji used to dip his 3 fingers in that, and then used to call us from the Sangat at random. So on that very first day, probably over a span of about a couple of hours, maybe, he gave me about 4 or 5 such glasses of Amrit. So it's been what, 25, rather 26 years and counting. I haven't had an attack since then. I am completely off my medication. And surprisingly, this is one thing that you just cannot wish it away. I mean, asthma, bronchitis is a form of an allergy, which, if not more, at least you will encounter at least twice a year when the season changes. So since I am associated with the medical field also a bit, all my friends, so many of my friends are doctors, and somehow they could also not fathom what happened and how I could basically leave my ailment behind. But Guruji blessed me that very first day, and that was how the journey, the Odyssey started. You see, at that point of time, Guruji, I was always an atheist, must say, a non-believer. And I compliment all of you who basically, I would not like to use the word new Sangat. I would like to say the ones that got connected to him after Guruji left his chola. You people are all blessed. Blessed in the sense that you can take him as God from day one. We, at least I speak for myself, the old Sangat, quote unquote old Sangat, um, we always had those mental blocks. I could never take him as God. In fact, I always take him for granted. I mean, how could you explain something like that? That he used to take us out for movies, to restaurants, to hotels, you name it. And I always looked upon him as my elder. I mean, the best case scenario was probably a Mahapurush, but God, not really. I'll be lying if I told you that I could take him as God from day one. You guys are really blessed because you know his real identity. We were always in the loop. So, anyways, as I was telling you, Undanana, Guruji, uh, I am sorry, I would be basically doing the satsang in English and more so in Punjabi because that would bring out the essence of what Guruji at that point of time meant or what he said. So basically, please bear with me for that. Guruji हमेशा कहते सीगे on I'm talking about those very the formative years as I would for me for that matter. He would at times say मैं शिव दा प्यो हां ओ कमले ने ते विआह कराया आपां ते ओ भी नहीं कराया. The very first day he said that, I said, yaar, what is this, yaar? What have I basically gone in for? He has got so much of ego, this guy. I'm sorry, Guruji, I'm using this word, but that is exactly what transpired at my mind at that point of time. I mean, for us Hindus, uh, Shiv was the Devadev Mahadev was the ultimate deity, the biggest god that we could think of, and he very casually brushed it and saying that I am his father. शिव दा प्यो है कमले ने तो व्याह कराया क्या शिव को कमला बोल दिया. I mean, I thought कि यार ये तो पहुंचे हुए हैं, man, he's got magical mystical powers, probably he'll be saved, but I'll be damned. मतलब मेरे को तो शिव सुनेगा कि भाई मैंने उनके बारे में ऐसी बात सुन ली तो मेरे को तो दल देंगे. So I was petrified. And then to make matters worse, he would say, Mata Rani meri धी है, Hanuman mera accountant hai. And I said, what the heck, man? What is all this? What am I getting into? I mean, please bear with me. Uh, I'm talking about a time where almost about, say, 26 years back, and I'm meeting somebody for a very first time. And nobody, because we've been brought up this way that हमें कहते हैं ना कि भगवान होते हैं लेकिन नजर नहीं आते. And so गुरुजी जिस तरह हमेशा कहते ਸੀਗੇ ਤੁਸੀਂ ਜ਼ਿਆਦਾ ਪੜ੍ਹ ਲਿਖ ਗਏ ਹੋ ਤੁਹਾਡਾ ਦਿਮਾਗ ਖਰਾਬ ਹੋ ਗਿਆ ਜਦੋਂ ਮੇਰੇ ਕੋਲ ਆਂਦੇ ਹੋ ਆਪਣਾ ਦਿਮਾਗ ਜੋੜਿਆਂ ਨਾਲ ਬਾਹਰ ਛੱਡ ਕੇ ਆਇਆ ਕਰੋ. So very true for all of us. And I for one made a corollary that भगवान होते हैं जो नजर नहीं आते. So the corollary being जो नजर आते हैं वो भगवान नहीं होते वाली बात है. So I could never take him as God. Then Guruji would say, ਵਰਨ ਮੇਰੇ 10 ਦੇ 10 ਦੁਆਰ ਖੁੱਲੇ ਨੇ ਬਾਬੇ ਦੇ 2.5 ਤੇ ਸਾਈਂ ਦੇ 3 ਖੁੱਲੇ ਸੀ. So then again I thought, yaar, he has got so much of ego. And to prove that point, there was this room, he used to call it his treatment room in Greater Kailash Mandir, वो हॉल के पीछे जाके उनका एक कमरा, there was this room, small room, and over there na he used to basically treat people with a spoon and pan ke patte. He used to make people get some pan ke pattas, howsoever many that he would require them to bring, and then he would use this spoon for treatment, and he would say that main to operation bhi karna hua hai, and that was his way of basically curing people. I thought at that point of time probably this was all a facade. He never needed anything. It is just to basically make people believe that something is being done, that he went through the rigmarole. So anyways, he took us to his treatment room. There were just five of us at that point of time. This I'm talking about. We were hardly about 2-3 months into uh, going to meet him. And wo Guruji he lay down on the carpet over there, and then he said, "Ethe sung, ethe sung." All you see, we all have everybody for that matter has these 10 dwars in our body. 10 द्वार जिसे हम कहते हैं, उसके अंदर ना the सुसु and potty वाले ये भी 2 द्वार हैं basically. These are also 2 of the 10 dwars, and he made us smell all of them. For that, for example, he started with the head, the eyes, all these 10 dwars. No? And as Arvind was telling you that Guruji, and of course you all would be knowing that Guruji has a fragrance, and at these particular 10 points that he made us smell, that fragrance was overwhelming. I mean, it was so much of it that you could make out that there is no barrier in between. The fragrance is coming from Guruji's inner body. Then at this point of time, there is no barrier to hold them back because of the fact that you are getting too much of that fragrance at these points. So this is how he showed the apne 10 द्वार. Guruji ने कहा तनु अपने 10 द्वार दिखाना हुआ, and he showed us. And believe me, we all saw that, but nothing changed as far as my belief was concerned, because to be very frank, then again, I for one always had those mental blocks. I was a doubting Tom always, and Guruji always knew about it, and it is his grace, and that is why I call him God. That in spite of all my discrepancies, in spite of all my shortcomings, he kept me in his fold. That is his greatness, because he is God. He cannot deny me that, though I may not be a deserving child, but I am his child. That is what divinity is all about him when we talk about him. Anyways, गुरुजी ने इसके बाद अपनी तीसरी आंख, it so happened that after a couple of months गुरुजी ने अपनी तीसरी आंख दिखाई. Now this is where it gets interesting. uh, there were just 4 of us this time. There was me, my wife Shelly, my mother and my mother-in-law. एंड गुरुजी ने अपनी ना ऐसे ही आंख एक साइड से ना ऐसे करके, मतलब आई मीन प्रोलॉन्ग करके, to make us see through that, see inside from the side of the eye. He made us see that, and we all appreciated that. Wow, beautiful, magnificent, blah 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 blah. And when we came out, I was the first to own up. I said, "Look, guys, I don't want to be a sinner, but to be very frank, I did not see anything. But I just basically said कि यार बहुत सुंदर क्या बोलता अंदर." I mean, I just played on, played on. So my wife was the second to admit. She said, "Varun, even I'll be truthful to you. Even I could not see his third eye." And my mother, she also joined in and said, "Bachcho, even I won't lie to you. Even I couldn't see it." But my mother-in-law, Meera auntie, Guruji always used to say, "मेरी बहन है." She said, okay, I saw the eye. It was so beautiful. And it was not, as you see in posters of Shivji or pictures of Shivji, it was not vertical as it is shown. It was of the same shape as your 2 eyes, right in the center of those 2 eyes. So it was somewhere where you somehow put a vermilion, I mean a bindi, somewhere around those lines. Since I did not see it, so I really cannot. I'm just basically trying to tell you what I was told by my mother-in-law. So as Arvind said, it is with only Guruji's wish that you can get his eternal darshan also. There were 4 of us, but it was only that was given to my mother-in-law. So probably it is his will only that you get to see him, you get to have his darshan. And then it so happened that as I told you, I was always a doubting Tom. And secondly, Guruji हमेशा कहते थे कि short which रखी, short with satsang kari. I guess he had a meaning to it because our attention span is such that anything above say 15-20 minutes becomes kind of monotonous and boring. But with satsang, as auntie also said before I started speaking, that you somehow try to live those times when somebody is narrating his experiences with Guruji. You try to conjure up an image of how it would have been. So this in itself is a form of eternal meditation. Anyways, Guruji हमेशा कहते थे कि short with सुनाई ते to keep it in that this thing, uh, the management committee of Guruji Mandir opened up a platform where we, as old Sangat used to share our satsangs, and I used to keep it small in about 10-15 minutes. That has run up to almost 8 hours of satsang, about 36 or maybe 40 odd episodes of the same. So the essence was he always told us to keep it short. Anyways, so I would just like to basically narrate a couple of more satsang, and then we can wind up, and probably next time whenever Guruji so wishes and you people want to hear his satsang, um, then I can always come up. So let me not speak about my life. I'm on to my fourth or the fifth life already. You must have heard so many. Let me think of something which brings out the divinity in him. Okay, so here goes. जो मैं अमृत के बारे में आपको बता रहा था, गुरुजी के एक बड़े there was a very dear friend of Guruji from his college days called what was his name? I'm sorry, with age, the memory is also failing. It's been, I'm talking about something almost close to 30 years back. Uh, anyways, I know his surname was Kapoor. So let us call him Mr. Kapoor. And he said, Varun, tenu pata hai कि Guruji steel the glass which kyun dinde ne amrit. Now, it would be a Herculean task even to describe what the amrit was and how it tasted, because um, try as I might, I just cannot explain it to you, because you see, it had all the essence of kasturi ki uske andar se fragrance aani, and it was sweet. So, anyways, he asked me, "तेनु पता है कि गुरुजी स्टील के ग्लास में क्यों अमृत देते हैं?" So, as I said कि गुरुजी हमेशा कहते थे कि थोड़े तुसी पढ़ लिख गए, थोड़ा दिमाग खराब हो गया. I came up with a smart aleck answer and said that probably it has got to do with steel, and steel is pure or something on those lines. He said नहीं, शुद्ध शुद्ध वाली कोई बात नहीं होती. ਜਦੋਂ ਗੁਰੂ ਜੀ ਦੇ ਤਿੰਨ ਉਂਗਲੀਆਂ ਉਹ ਪਾਣੀ ਵਿੱਚ ਡੁੱਬੀਆਂ ਹੁੰਦੀਆਂ ਨਾ, ਤੇ ਬ੍ਰਹਮਾ ਵਿਸ਼ਨੂੰ ਮਹੇਸ਼ ਉਹ ਤਿੰਨ ਉਂਗਲੀਆਂ ਉੱਤੇ ਹੁੰਦੇ ਨੇ. So I said, come off it, man. I mean, this was, what do I say? Can't even call it a canard. It was basically much more than that. क्या और कुछ काम नहीं है ब्रह्मा विष्णु महेश को कि गुरुजी की उंगलियों पे आके बैठेंगे. I mean, this was my attitude at that point of time. So believe me, everything fell into place. Whatever I'm telling, whatever I was doubting, once you take him as God, everything falls into place because he is the eternal God. And I will come to that also in a few minutes. Secondly, now, as I was just narrating a few of my satsangs, sorry, Guruji's satsang, not my satsang. उन दिनों संगत was very limited. We were hardly about what 20-25. If you were to really stretch it, maximum of about 50 odd people. That also on big days. But there was this place. It wasn't exactly a Jodagar, but there was this place just next to the gate. I'm talking about the Greater Kailash Mandir, where there was this jhula placed, and people used to take off their shoes over there, the footwear, so to say. And since we used to be sitting around for so many hours, I took it upon myself to be a de facto sevadar of those jodas, and basically used to basically go there and collect all the footwear. And once I was doing so, and there was this always this big thing at that point of time. It has always been considered the biggest form of a blessing, as per me, that Guruji, after partaking a bit of whatever he was having, be it the chai prasad or the jal prasad, he would offer the same to some very, very blessed and lucky sangat, I would say, his own prasad, his own tasted prasad, so to say. And जब मैं जोड़े घर में सेवा कर रहा था, so I could only think of that particular incident where he would end up giving his tasted prasad to a sangat. और मैं कह रहा था गुरुजी काश मैनू भी ਉਹ ਮਿਲ ਜਾਏ, ਐ ਮਨ ਵਿੱਚ ਹੀ ਸੋਚ ਰਿਹਾ, it was just going through my mind. I said ਕਾਸ਼ ਮੈਨੂੰ ਵੀ ਉਹ ਮਿਲ ਜਾਏ ਤੁਹਾਡਾ ਚੱਖਿਆ ਹੋਇਆ ਪ੍ਰਸ਼ਾਦ। ਫਿਰ as if to console myself ਆਪਣੇ ਆਪ को ਆਨਸਰ ਦਿੱਤੇ ਹੋ ਗਿਆ, ਨਾ ਨਾ ਗੁਰੂ ਜੀ ਤੇ ਵੱਡਿਆਂ ਦੇ ਗੁਰੂ ਹੈਗੇ, ਸਾਡੀ ਥੋੜਾ ਨਹੀਂ ਕਿਸਮਤ। I mean, why I use the word ਵੱਡਿਆਂ ਦੇ ਗੁਰੂ, because as I told you, though the sangat was very limited, but out of those 25, 40, 50, whatever, how so many sangat there used to be, we could always spot some page three celebrities. Uh, in my lingo, the Tatas, Birlas of the day, so to say. Not exactly the Tatas and the Birlas, but that is how we basically call the people who have achieved something in life. So, anyways, I could make out that out of those, there were these very prestigious people also coming to him, and I thought that probably he would give his Chakhawa Prashad to them only. I was just thinking about it. I had not broached upon it with anybody. I was not even talking to anybody on that count. I was just thinking about it. And suddenly somebody came from within and he said, Ke Varun, Guruji tenu sat rahe ne. He's calling you. So I went in and Guruji had this very beautiful smile and he had a chai prasad ka glass in his hand. उन्होंने एक सिप लिया और कहा, "अले ऐश कर." And I thought, Mana, आज तो कुछ और मांगना सीखा. You see, Guruji मैं हमेशा he always used to call me कंजरा. And मेरी हरकतें ही ऐसी थी कंजरों वाली थी कि भाई what I was thinking was I got. But then also I thought probably I should have asked for something else. I mean, that is how I was. I don't deny that I'm a kanjar. Because if he has called me a kanjar, it is a blessing. Anyways, that was it. And उस टाइम जब रात को हम आज्ञा ले रहे थे जाने, because we used to take आज्ञा before leaving the mandir from him, and he said ਕੀ ਕਹਿ ਰਿਹਾ ਸੀਗਾ, ਸਾਡੀ ਥੋੜਾ ਨਹੀਂ ਕਿਸਮਤ ਔਰ ਵੱਡਿਆਂ ਦਾ ਗੁਰੂ ਆ। मैंने गुरुजी मैं तो नहीं कुछ किया। गुरुजी कहते ना ना तू यही कह रहा ਸੀਗਾ टाटा बिरला ਦਾ ਗੁਰੂ ਆ। So I said, how does he know? How does he even know? I haven't talked to anybody about this and he knows everything. So before I could say anything, Guruji ਕਹਿੰਦੇ ਤੂੰ ਕੀ ਸੋਚਦਾ ਹੈ, ਤੇਰੇ ਜਿਹੜੇ ਟਾਟਾ ਬਿਰਲਾ ਮੇਰੇ ਕੋਲੋਂ ਕੁਝ ਲੈ ਕੇ ਜਾ ਸਕਦੇ ਨੇ, ਮੇਰੇ ਕੋਲੋਂ ਕੱਖ ਨਹੀਂ ਲੈ ਕੇ ਜਾ ਸਕਦੇ, ਭਾਵੇਂ 20 ਸਾਲ 25 ਸਾਲ ਜਿੰਨੇ ਮਰਜ਼ੀ ਸਾਲ ਜੋੜੇ ਕਿਸ ਲੰਮ। ਗੁਰੂ ਜੀ ਮੈਂ ਨਹੀਂ ਸਮਝਿਆ। ਗੁਰੂ ਜੀ ਕਹਿੰਦੇ ਨੇ ਮੇਰੇ ਦਰ ਤੋਂ ਤੈਨੂੰ ਕੁਝ ਵੀ ਚਾਹੀਦਾ ਹੈ ਤੇ ਤਿੰਨ ਚੀਜ਼ਾਂ ਕਰਨੀ ਪੈਣੀਆਂ। ਮੈਂ ਕਿਹਾ ਗੁਰੂ ਜੀ ਉਹ ਕਿਹੜੀ ਤਿੰਨ ਚੀਜ਼ਾਂ ਹੈਗੀਆਂ? ਗੁਰੂ ਜੀ ਕਹਿੰਦੇ ਨੇ ਪਹਿਲਾ ਮੇਰੇ ਨਾਲ ਕਨੈਕਸ਼ਨ ਜੋੜਨਾ ਪੈਂਦਾ। ਮੈਂ ਕਿਹਾ ਗੁਰੂ ਜੀ connection was something that was new to me. I thought probably connection is when you talk about gas connection or something like that. ਮੈਂ ਕਿਹਾ ਕਨੈਕਸ਼ਨ ਉਹ ਕੀ ਹੁੰਦਾ ਗੁਰੂ ਜੀ? ਗੁਰੂ ਜੀ ਕਹਿੰਦੇ ਨੇ ਮੈਂ ਕਰੋੜਾਂ ਵੋਲਟ ਦਾ ਕਰੰਟ ਆ, ਤੁਸੀਂ 0 ਵਾਟ ਦੇ ਬਲਬ ਹੈਗੇ ਹੋ, ਤੁਹਾਨੂੰ ਤੇ ਮੈਂ ਮਿਲਣ ਆਣਾ, ਤੁਸੀਂ ਅਗਰ ਮੈਨੂੰ ਮੇਰੀ ਗਲੋਰੀ ਵਿੱਚ ਵੇਖ ਲਓ ਤਾਂ ਭਸਮ ਹੋ ਜਾਓ, ਤੁਹਾਨੂੰ ਤੇ ਮੈਂ ਮਿਲਣ ਆਣਾ ਵਾ ਆਪਣੇ ਆਪ ਨੂੰ ਮੱਧਮ ਕਰਕੇ। ਤੇ I could still not make out what he meant by that. ਗੁਰੂ ਜੀ ਕਹਿੰਦੇ ਨੇ ਗੱਲ ਤਾਂ ਬਣਦੀ ਹੈ ਜਦੋਂ ਮੈਂ ਤੁਹਾਨੂੰ ਟੱਚ ਕਰਾਂ, ਤੁਸੀਂ ਮੈਨੂੰ ਟੱਚ ਕਰੋ ਕੱਖ ਨਹੀਂ ਹੁੰਦਾ। This is what I could relate to, because these so-called pastry, the Tatas, Birlas of my mind, so to say, whenever they used to come in, they used to basically grab hold of his feet and start pressing it. ये गुरुजी उनको सेवा नहीं देते थे, वो खुद ही दबाना शुरू कर देते थे। बट देयर वर टाइम्स व्हेन गुरुजी अपनी ये सेवा किसी को देते थे ना, लाइक टू press his shoulder or press his feet or press his head, then for days at an end, not hours, sometimes days at an end, Guruji ki fragrance unki haathon se nahi jati thi. That was his way of blessing them even more. He was blessing everybody around, but he would bless some people who needed his blessings more. It was not that he played favorite. It was Guruji हमेशा कहते से कि वरन भावे तू आए या तेरा दुश्मन आए, I cannot be selective in my blessings. जो भी ਇੱਥੇ ਆਏਗਾ ਆਪਣੀ ਮਨ ਮੰਗੀ ਮੁਰਾਦਾ ਕਰ।
ਮੁਰਾਦਾ ਪਾ ਕੇ ਜਾਏਗਾ। ਜਿਸ ਤਰ੍ਹਾਂ ਸੂਰਜ ਚੰਦ ਆਪਣੀ ਮਰਜ਼ੀ ਨਾਲ ਲਾਈਟ ਨਹੀਂ ਦੇ ਸਕਦੇ, ਉਹ ਸਭ ਨੂੰ ਦੇਣਗੇ, ਉਸ ਤਰ੍ਹਾਂ ਹੀ ਮੈਂ ਹੈਗਾ, ਮੈਂ ਕਿਸੇ ਦੇ ਨਾਲ ਗਲਤ ਨਹੀਂ ਕਰ ਸਕਦਾ ਵਾ। So I'll just dwell upon a few of my doubting Tom incidents which really brought out the divinity in him. So I was never sold on to this idea that he's anybody, say, beyond a Mahapurush. So as I told you, I used to have this seva near the so-called Jodaghar, and once there were a few IAS also who used to throng to that place, and there were these couple of ladies who on the way out were discussing something about Guruji that caught my ear. One of them said, something sinister is going on over here. The other said, what makes you think so? She said, well, you tend to feel so nice after Guruji gives you that Amrit Prasad, na? So second one says, yeah, even I think that he mixes prednisolone or some corticosteroid in it so that you tend to feel so good. So the first one said, no, actually, I think he's a tantric. So when I heard all this, I said, what the hell, yaar? What am I getting into? So out of fear only, when I was taking leave from Guruji, उनसे आज्ञा ले रहा था उस रात को. So I said, Guruji, कुछ लोग की कहते ने तुसी तांत्रिक हो. So Guruji कहते हैं ना तांत्रिक किसी पला नहीं कर सकते. ते तांत्रिक ने गोरे चिट्टे नहीं होंगे. मतलब he when I had this doubt in mind, he came down to my level, which was basically a minus level, a sub-zero level. Not even I couldn't even call myself a kindergarten student because of such an absurd question, but he never took offense to it. I mean, it was not Kabi, how dare you say this or something. He came to my level to address my issue and explain it to me very patiently. So he said and the answer was so very beautiful. I mean, I called him that probably Guruji people say that you're a tantric. He very casually explained it to me why he is not. It was so hilarious now that I think about it, and how foolish a person could be when I talk about myself. Anyways, this also went by. Then it so happened that we had just shifted to this place, the new place, about 3 years before going to Guruji. I used to stay somewhere in North Delhi. Then I shifted to East Delhi, a place called Preet Vihar. And I had at those times there was a waiting to get a normal telephone connection also installed, especially in our area, East Delhi. So somehow I got my connection when I had started going to Guruji, and Guruji just asked me one fine day. In fact, the very day that I got the connection, in the evening when I'd gone to him, Guruji said, "Varun, tera phone lag gaya?" मैं Guruji आहो लग गया. Guruji कहते ने की number मिलिया तेनू. So it was a very proud moment for me, because I thought that I had got a very so-called a VIP number ending with 000. So Guruji ka ki number miliya tenu? I said, Guruji 242100. The Guruji used to have this small black diary with him in which he used to write down numbers if he so wanted. He took it out and he wrote Varun 2421155. I said, Guruji आने 1000. Guruji कहते ने जो लिख देता हो गया. तो मैं ये कहता ਸੀਗਾ यार ਮਨਾ ਲੋਕਾਂ ਨੂੰ ਕਹਿੰਦੇ ਨੇ ਕਿ ਆਪਣੀ ਈਗੋ ਛੱਡੋ ਖੁਦ ਇਹਨਾਂ ਵਿੱਚ ਐਨੀ ਭਰੀ ਹੋਈ ਹੈ ਮੈਨੂੰ ਕੀ ਸਮਝਾਣਗੇ I know for a fact what number I have got. Just he simply writing down some other number doesn't change my number ਨਾ. He just doesn't want to listen to reason. ਕੀ ਫਰਕ ਪੈਂਦਾ ਬਈ ਗਲਤ ਉਹਨਾਂ ਨੇ ਲਿਖਿਆ ਹੈ ਕੱਟ ਕੇ ਲਿਖ ਦੇਣ. ਮੈਨੂੰ ਥੋੜਾ ਪਤਾ ਸੀਗਾ ਕਿ ਗੁਰੂ ਜੀ ਤੇ ਕਿਸ ਪਤਾ ਲਿਖਦੇ ਨੇ ਨੰਬਰ ਲਿਖਣ ਵਾਸਤੇ ਥੋੜਾ ਆਏ ਸੀਗੇ ਸਾਡੇ ਵਿਚਕਾਰ. So anyways, I thought he has a problem. Sorry, Guruji. That is exactly what I thought at that point of time. I thought he has a problem. He is so full of ego. Not me. He is so full of ego. Anyways, I went back. A couple of days later, I get a call from the exchange people and said, okay, sir, we have wrongly allotted you that 000 number, because that 000 number is reserved for the exchange engineer's residence number, so that people can recall that once if their complaints are not redressed, they know which number to call, so that they can get their grievances redressed. So I basically tried a lot to retain that number, but somehow I could not. And 2 days later, I was told that I had been allotted the number 2421155, the very same number that Guruji had written on that particular day. So now when I went back to Guruji that day, so Guruji ਕਹਿੰਦੇ ਨੇ ਵਰਨ ਤੇਰਾ ਨੰਬਰ ਠੀਕ ਹੋ ਗਿਆ। ਮੈਂ ਗੁਰਜੀ ਦਿਮਾਗ ਵੀ ਠੀਕ ਹੋ ਗਿਆ, ਪਤਾ ਨਹੀਂ ਉਸ ਦਿਨ ਕੀ ਸੋਚ ਬੈਠਾ ਸੀਗਾ। ਸੋ ਗੁਰਜੀ ਬੜਾ ਹੱਸੇ ਸੀਗੇ। ਤੇ ਜਦੋਂ ਵੀ ਗੁਰਜੀ ਮੈਨੂੰ ਕਹਿੰਦੇ ਸੀਗੇ ਵਰਨ ਆਪਣਾ ਸਤਸੰਗ ਕਰ, ਤੇ ਕਹਿੰਦੇ ਉਹ ਫੋਨ ਵਾਲਾ ਜ਼ਰੂਰ ਦੱਸੀ। ਸੋ ਆਮ ਜਸਟ ਬ੍ਰਿੰਗਿੰਗ ਦੈਟ ਅਪ। So that was it. And then Guruji, being I mean, going to Guruji was never heavy. I mean, we were young at that point of time. I was in my probably late 20s when we started going to Guruji, and he had us all so very regaled with his sense of humor, his wit. I mean, laugh a minute, right? There was never a heavy moment, in the sense that it was never कि जी धुनी रमा के बैठ जाओ और ध्यान लगाओ. So somehow probably that could also be one more reason that I could never take him as God, but we used to look forward to go to him almost every evening, and Guruji used to welcome all in sundry 24/7 365. He never sleeps. He never used to sleep. In fact, that is where Singla Auntie's also satsang comes into mind. Sorry. There was a time, if I'm not mistaken, Singla Auntie, out of her concern for Guruji, she just said कि Guruji ਤੁਸੀਂ ਬੜੇ ਥੱਕੇ ਹੋਏ ਲੱਗ ਰਹੇ, ਥੋੜੀ ਦੇਰ ਸੋ ਜਾਓ। ਤੇ ਗੁਰਜੀ ਦਾ ਜਵਾਬ ਸੀਗਾ, ਕਮਲੀਏ ਰੱਬ ਨਹੀਂ ਸੌਂਦਾ, ਰੱਬ ਸੋ ਜਾਏ ਤੇ ਪਰਲੇ ਆ ਜਾਓ। There were times that he would tell us in indirect ways that he is God, but the way that we've been brought up, I, for example, was brought up, I could never take him as God. So anyways, where was I? There are so many satsangs to share, and so limited time, in the sense that I know for a fact that Guruji had ordained it this way only, that we need to keep it short. But one thing, don't take it as an offense, but somehow music has a quality that it brings to mind the times when you heard it in the first time around, or the times that you used to look upon as very good times. So there is a large repertoire of shabads which Guruji used to play. Those were the chosen ones. I mean, I'm sorry, I'm not able. Don't take it as criticism, but when I joined the satsang part, somehow I could not identify with those things, because you see, then again, he had played those particular the shabads at that point of time for a reason. It is something like it used to give us so many answers. And it is not a case of just having a handful of shabads. There were a large variety, I believe 100, 200, probably even more. So just a friendly suggestion, if you could go back to those very shabads and play those. I know I don't have a right to say anything to anybody for that matter. It's just a humble suggestion that I want to make. He played those shabads for a reason. It was his way of going about it. And I would just request with folded hands if you could somehow go back to those very ways. And then again, as I was telling you, that I always thought that Guruji had so much of ego, not the other way around. Guruji once said he had taken us to Radisson, Noida for langar, and he said, मेरा बड़ा ਵੱਡਾ ਭਗਤ ਹੈਗਾ, the owner of the hotel. And I thought, how can that be? I know that MBD guy, the Malhotra book depot guy. I have never seen him around the mandir or with Guruji anytime. How does he say? I mean, हर ਵਿੱਚ ਹੀ अपना copyright पा देंगे, आ भी मेरा चिल्ला है, आ भी मेरा भक्त हैगा. For example, he once said that Mother Teresa the asthma mat ही कितना ਸੀਗਾ. And I thought, यार किथे गुरुजी, साडे गुरुजी किथे मदर टेरेसा, किथे मिल गए वाली गल है. Because as I told you, always was this the doubting Tom. So anyways, as I was telling you, where was I?
the flow of thought, when it breaks, then it takes a little bit of time. Sorry, please bear with me. I just want to wrap it up with a couple of more satsangs, but uh, yeah. Oh, yeah. I was telling you about why I thought that probably he has so much ego. And ਜਿਹੜੇ ਸ਼ਬਦ ਵੱਜਦੇ ਸੀਗੇ ਤੇ ਗੁਰੂ ਜੀ ਕਹਿੰਦੇ ਸੀ ਕਿ ਆ ਮੈਂ ਲਿਖਿਆ, ਆ ਮੈਂ ਲਿਖਿਆ. So I would say, yeah, what the hell is this? I mean, I know for a fact Guru Arjan Dev Ji ने लिखा है, या Guru Gobind Singh Ji ने लिखा है, या Guru Nanak Dev Ji ने लिखा है, या Surdas Ji ने लिखा है. We all know over a period of time that who has written what. But Guruji always used to say, "Ah, main लिखा है." That brings in the essence. You see, Guruji always used to say कि वरन जिन्ना माचिस दी तीली उत्ते बुरादा ਹੁੰਦਾ ਨਾ, ਇੰਨਾ ਕੁ ਸ਼ਿਵ ਸਭ ਦੇ ਅੰਦਰ ਹੁੰਦਾ. You understand? Match light, उसके ऊपर that the powdered portion which has that explosive thing. So Guruji ਕਹਿੰਦੇ ਸੀ ਕਿ ਇੰਨਾ ਕੁ ਸ਼ਿਵ ਸਭ ਦੇ ਅੰਦਰ ਹੁੰਦਾ. I take it as the atma part is what he was talking about. So हर हर महादेव का जो नारा हुआ था, what does it all breaks down to? It breaks down to we are all Shiv. हर हर महादेव. हर मतलब everybody is a Mahadev. We are all reincarnation of Mahadev because we have an essence of us, the Shiv part in us by the way of our Atma. And शिव और शव में बस फर्क यही है कि अगर वो शिव चले जाता है बॉडी से तो वो शव बन जाता है. आई मीन, so very beautifully put by somebody. Of course, this was not how Guruji explained it to me. He just told me that initial part that we all have that essence of Shiv. Now, Guruji हमेशा कहते से देखो Guruji whatever he said वो पत्थर की लकीर है. गुरुजी हमेशा कहते से कि वरन आने के महापुरुष वेख सकते ने ते कहते ने कुछ. महापुरुष जो कहते ने सत्य हो जाता है. सत्य वचन जिसे कहते हैं ना, सत्य वचन हो जाता है. सो एज आई टोल्ड यू, गुरुजी ऑलवेज यूज्ड टू से कि मैं शिव दा प्यो हां, वो कमले ने ते व्याह कराया. आई टोल्ड यू अबाउट ऑल दिस. सो इफ ही इज द फादर ऑफ शिव and we all are Shiv Ansh, we all have that Shiv Ansh in us, so we are all his children. So by going that by that definition, uh, like for example, if you know a little about homeopathy, there is a mother tincture, and when you put that one drop and make 10,000 drops and mix it in a, say, a liter, a liter, make a liter worth of that medicine from that particular mother tincture, one drop or two drops, whatever. So whatever it may be, that the whole 1 liter becomes a part of that mother tincture. So look at it this way, that अगर हम सब में शिव हैं और शिव में हमारे गुरु हैं, then हम सब में गुरु हैं. It should not come as a surprise when he used to basically at times tell you what you did 10 years back on a particular date. It is because he was there, he saw it firsthand with you. When you used to come to him, he used to at least वो कहते हैं गुरुजी कहते थे कि मैं ਤੁਹਾਨੂੰ स्कैन करना वा. I take it by that he meant that he would go back in time and see what all we had done or what all had happened to us, so that he could basically assess our situation. I mean, this may sound as very heavy, but it has taken me a lot many years to come to a realization that if he is God, he can do anything. My biggest mistake or fallacy was कि मैंने मालिक को मैनेजर समझने की भूल की. I thought that probably he has got a good connection with God. Guruji has got a good connection with God. जो भी भगवान को कहते हैं वो कर देते हैं. It was the other way around. He is God. He is the मालिक. हमेशा गुरुजी कई बारी कहते ਸੀਗੇ कि वरन ਤੁਸੀਂ ਜਿੱਥੇ ਮਰਜ਼ੀ ਗੇੜਾ ਪਾਓ, ਜਿੱਥੇ ਮਰਜ਼ੀ ਫਰਿਆਦ ਪਾਓ, ਸੈਂਕਸ਼ਨ ਹੋਣ ਵਾਸਤੇ ਤੇ ਮੇਰੇ ਕੋਲ ਹੀ ਆਂਦੀ ਹੈ. ਤੇ he never took you away from a religion, he never took you away from any particular god. ਬਸ ਇਹੀ ਕਹਿੰਦੇ ਸੀਗੇ ਰੱਬ ਦਾ ਤੁਸੀਂ ਨਾਂ ਲਓ, ਕਿਸੇ ਵੀ ਫਾਰਮ में लो. ਉਹ ਹਮੇਸ਼ਾ ਇਹੀ ਕਹਿੰਦੇ ਸੀਗੇ ਕਿਸੇ ਵੀ ਫਾਰਮ ਵਿੱਚ ਲਓ. So basically why I am bringing this all up is then again, yeah, I have become such a tube light. I always was a tube light, just that I am I was telling you about the three things and probably I left it in between ਕਿ ਗੁਰਜੀ ਨੇ ਕਿਹਾ ਸੀਗਾ ਕਿ ਵੀ 3 ਚੀਜ਼ਾਂ ਕਰਨੀ ਪੈਂਦੀ ਹੈ ਮੇਰੇ ਨਾਲ ਜੁੜਨ ਵਾਸਤੇ. ਸਭ ਤੋਂ ਪਹਿਲਾ ਕਨੈਕਸ਼ਨ ਜੋੜਨਾ ਪੈਂਦਾ,
The Guruji told me about that connection part, about he being corona volt the current and we being 0 watt the bulb. तो मैंने कहा गुरुजी कनेक्शन, मैंने कहा गुरुजी कनेक्शन ओके वे जोड़ देना है। गुरुजी कहते हैं कनेक्शन जोड़न वास्ते नंबर 2 मैं छड़नी पैंदी है। मैं गुरुजी मैंने कहा मैं, गुरुजी कहते आहो ईगो ए छड़नी पैंदी है। मैं गुरुजी ओके वे छड़िए। गुरुजी कहते नंबर 3 मंगना छड़ दियो, मैं आपे छुड़ जानी है। ਤੇ ਮੈਂ ਕਿਹਾ ਮਨਾ ਮੰਗਣ ਹੀ ਤੇ ਆਇਆ, ਅਗਰ ਇੱਥੇ ਆ ਕੇ ਵੀ ਨਹੀਂ ਮੰਗਿਆ ਤੇ ਆਉਣ ਦਾ ਸਰੋਕਾਰ ਕੀ ਹੋਏਗਾ। ਬੇਸਿਕਲੀ ਆਈ ਮੀਨ we have come here only to ask, and if we were not to ask, then what is the point in coming to him? So his beautiful answer is that, as Arvind also told you, Guruji ਹਮੇਸ਼ਾ ਕਹਿੰਦੇ ਸੀਗੇ ਮੰਨਣ ਤੇ ਮੰਗਣ ਵਿੱਚ ਫਰਕ ਸਮਝੋ, ਜੇ ਮੰਨੋਗੇ ਤਾਂ ਮੰਗਣ ਦੀ ਲੋੜ ਨਹੀਂ ਪੈਣੀ। So very succinctly and beautifully said by him, because of the fact that हमारी नजर बेसिकली अगर हमने कुछ, if we were to ask for something, a piece of land, then probably we would only be able to ask for something till only that much जहां तक हमारी नजर जा सकती है, the land that we can see. But वो जब देने पे आते हैं, then he can grant us 3 ब्रह्मांडों का राज, I mean the ultimate thing. And secondly, when I speak about myself, हमारी फितरत is like a small baby, a small child, जिसे या तो सब कुछ चाहिए या कुछ नहीं। Try to understand this कि या तो सब कुछ चाहिए या कुछ नहीं, कि आप ये दे दो नहीं तो कुछ मत दो। मतलब हम रूठ जाते हैं वाली बात है, without even looking into कि what is good for us or what is not। गुरुजी हमेशा कहते थे कि वरुण ਤੁਹਾਨੂੰ ਆਈ ਨਹੀਂ ਜਾਂਚ ਕਿ ਕੀ ਮੰਗੀਦਾ, ਇਸ ਕਰਕੇ ਨਾ ਮੰਗੋ, ਮੇਰੇ ਉੱਤੇ ਛੱਡ ਦਿਓ। ਗੁਰੂ ਜੀ ਕਹਿੰਦੇ ਸੀਗੇ ਕਿ ਮੈਂ ਤੁਹਾਨੂੰ ਸਭ ਤੋਂ ਪਹਿਲੇ ਜ਼ਿੰਦਗੀ ਦੇਣਾ ਵਾ, ਉਹਦੇ ਬਾਅਦ ਸਿਹਤ ਦੇਣਾ ਵਾ, ਉਹਦੇ ਬਾਅਦ ਮਾੜਾ ਮੋਟਾ ਪੈਸਾ ਲੱਤਾ ਦੇ ਦੇਣਾ ਵਾ। ਤੁਹਾਡੀ ਜ਼ਿੰਦਗੀ, ਤੁਹਾਡੀ ਗਿਣਤੀ ਉਲਟੀ ਸ਼ੁਰੂ ਹੁੰਦੀ ਹੈ। ਤੁਸੀਂ ਸਭ ਤੋਂ ਪਹਿਲਾਂ ਪੈਸਾ ਲੱਤਾ ਮੰਗਦੇ ਹੋ, ਸਿਹਤ ਕਹਿੰਦੇ ਹੋ ਖਰੀਦ ਲਾਂਗੇ, ਜ਼ਿੰਦਗੀ ਹੈਗੀ ਹੈ ਨਹੀਂ ਹੈਗੀ ਕੋਈ ਫਰਕ ਨਹੀਂ ਪੈਂਦਾ। ਗੁਰੂ ਜੀ once in impeccable English he told me, Varun, I gave what you need, not what you want. There is this perceptible difference between needs and wants. Need is something without which you cannot sustain. Wants are endless. ਗੁਰੂ ਜੀ ਕਹਿੰਦੇ ਅੱਜ ਤੈਨੂੰ ਵੱਡੀ ਗੱਡੀ ਚਾਹੀਦੀ ਹੈ, ਕੱਲ ਤੂੰ ਹੈਲੀਕਾਪਟਰ ਮੰਗੇਗਾ, ਉਹਦੇ ਬਾਅਦ ਹਵਾਈ ਜਹਾਜ਼ ਮੰਗੇਗਾ, ਉਹਦੇ ਬਾਅਦ ਰਾਕਟ ਮੰਗੇਗਾ। ਮੈਨੂੰ ਪਤਾ ਹੈ ਤੈਨੂੰ ਅੱਜ ਵੱਡੀ ਗੱਡੀ ਦੇ ਦਿੱਤੀ, ਕੋਨੇ ਤੇ ਤੇਰਾ ਐਕਸੀਡੈਂਟ ਲਿਖਿਆ, ਤੂੰ ਬਚਣਾ ਨਹੀਂ ਉੱਥੇ। ਮੈਂ ਤੈਨੂੰ ਉਹਦੇ ਕੋਲੋਂ ਪਹਿਲਾਂ ਬਚਾਣਾ ਜਾਂ ਤੈਨੂੰ ਵੱਡੀ ਗੱਡੀ ਦੇਣੀ ਹੈ। So this was his way of explaining it to us. And you see, the beauty about Guruji is that he never used to give sermons. Guruji ਕਹਿੰਦੇ ਸੀਗੇ ਕਹਿ ਕੇ ਕਰਾਇਆ ਤੇ ਕੀ ਕਰਾਇਆ, ਮੈਂ ਤੇ ਬੰਦੇ ਨੂੰ ਅੰਦਰੋਂ ਹੀ ਚੇਂਜ ਕਰ ਦੇਣਾ ਵਾ। And then he also added, like once he told Anita, who he cured of an incurable cancer, ਕਿ ਅਨੀਤਾ ਬੰਦੇ ਨੂੰ ਚੇਂਜ ਕਰਨਾ ਬੜਾ ਔਖਾ ਹੈ। ਕੁੱਤੇ ਜਿਵੇਂ ਕੁੱਤੇ ਦੀ ਪੁੱਛ 7 ਸਾਲ ਵੀ ਬਰਫ਼ ਵਿੱਚ ਟੰਗਾ ਕੇ ਰੱਖੋ, ਉਹ ਸਿੱਧੀ ਨਹੀਂ ਹੁੰਦੀ। ਬੰਦੇ ਨੂੰ ਚੇਂਜ ਕਰਨਾ ਬੜਾ ਔਖਾ ਹੈਗਾ। So and then again, I'm sorry, I'm basically moving from one point to the other because I always get so excited when I get to talk about our Guru. It was always my Guru earlier on, but I have realized it was there's a very thin line between say what possessiveness and jealousy. I thought I was being possessive. मेरे पापा सिर्फ मेरे हैं वाला हिसाब था, but then again it was nothing but pure jealousy, as would come out in a satsang, that my last satsang that I'm going to share, because we all know that Guruji gave us so many things. He's still giving us everything that he that we so require, but when the time is right for us. So anyways, in fact, let me finish this up with 2 satsangs, one leading to the other. There was this time, early 96, as I told you, we started going to him in 95, and after about 4-5 months, Guruji decided to go to Jalandhar. And now we had got so used to basically going to Guruji every day that we thought, yeah, what will we do? How will we get to meet him and stuff? And so after about a 2 months hiatus, we decided to go visit him in Jalandhar. And just the 4 of us, me, my mom, my mother-in-law, and Shelly, my wife, we went to him, and he welcomed us with open arms. I mean, I still can't get over, I still get
bumps when I think of that time, and he would address us "Kya hai mere धी पुत्र ने," which was a very heady feeling at that point of time, because of the very fact now that I know that we are all his धी पुत्र. It was just that he said that, and it meant so much at that point of time when he used to basically make us meet the Jalandhar Sangat. And in the evening, that the first day, he made all our arrangements. We were made to stay with the sitting MP of Congress, Sardar. Then again, I'm sorry, names I just cannot recall. Anyways, and in the evening, he told my mom and and my mother-in-law that मैं बच्चों ਨੂੰ ਘੁਮਾਉਣ ਲੈ ਕੇ ਜਾ ਰਿਹਾ, ਤੁਸੀਂ ਇੱਥੇ ਬਹਿ ਕੇ ਨਾ ਬਰਾਸੋ ਲੈ ਕੇ ਮੂਰਤੀਆਂ ਚਮਕਾਓ. There are a few brass मूर्तिज in the Jalandhar मंदिर that उनकी सेवा करवा रहे थे गुरुजी मम्मी और मेरी मदर-इन-लॉ से कि भाई उनको आप सफा करो. And I come from a very humble background in the sense when we started coming to Guruji, we just had what uh, a Maruti van, if I'm not mistaken, at that point of time. We were a joint family. Tarun, Sabina are my elder brother and Bhabhi. Anyways, so he took us out, and I was always hard pressed for cash at that point of time. So Guruji की गाड़ी में गुरुजी हमें लेके गए छुई मुई एज यू वुड कॉल इट CH01M001. दैट वाज द नंबर ऑफ द कार. सो छुई मुई कहते थे गुरुजी. तो हम जब जा रहे थे तो गुरुजी माय वाइफ के दिमाग में आया कि यार मैं अपना पर्स किधर छोड़ आई, कोई ले ना जाए. सोच ही रही थी इस बारे में. तो गुरुजी कहते ने की सोचन रही है, कोई नहीं लेके जाएगा तेरा पर्स. है कि ਉਹਦੇ ਵਿੱਚ 170 रुपये, एक टूटी कंघी ਤੇ एक लिपस्टिक. So when we went back to the mandir after our sojourn, वहाँ पे she saw the purse lying over there, and as she opened it in front of me, we counted. There was just 170 rupees, as Guruji had said. There was a kangi and there was a lipstick. So I thought, yeah, how uncanny! How would he come to know of all these things? And secondly, then and the next day, in the morning, I was in his room. I was just pressing his feet as per his orders. ਤੇ ਗੁਰਜੀ ਕਹਿੰਦੇ ਨੇ ਵਰਨ ਅਜੇ ਫਲਾ ਫਲਾ ਬੰਦਾ ਆਏਗਾ, ਕਹੇਗਾ ਗੁਰਜੀ ਮੈਂ ਇੱਥੋਂ ਦੀ ਲੰਘ ਰਿਹਾ ਸੀਗਾ, ਸੋਚਿਆ ਤੁਹਾਡੇ ਦਰਸ਼ਨ ਕਰਦਾ ਚਲਾ. So 5 minutes later, there was a knock on the door, and lo and behold, there was this gentleman, a very well-known personality. And he said, Guruji, आज मैं जलंधर आया. मैं सोचा ऐसे कैसे हो सकता है कि मैं आपसे ना मिलूं. तो गुरुजी looked at me with a twinkle in his eyes, as if telling me, कैसे कहना तेनू क्या आएगा. So I thought, yaar, wow, so great. So anyways, this also went by, and then we came out. The local sangat was also there, and I just wanted to bring out the humor in so many things that Guruji did at that point of time. So all of a sudden Guruji अपने सिंहासन गद्दी पे बैठे हुए थे, and there was this lady, Mrs. Lakhani, her name was. गुरुजी कहंदे ने आंटी तेनू शर्म नहीं आंदी. कहंदे गुरुजी मेरे कोलों की खता हो गई. कहंदे गुरुजी कहंदे ने तू अजे भी बह के सोच रही है, तेरे 4 दिन बाद किट्टी पार्टी है, तू किहड़े नवा सूट सवाना है, ਤੇ ਅੰਕਲ ਤੈਨੂੰ ਹਫਤੇ ਤੋਂ ਕਹਿ ਰਹੇ ਨੇ, ਲਾਮਾ ਦੇ ਰਹੇ ਨੇ, ਉਹਨਾਂ ਨੇ ਕੱਛੇ ਫੜ ਗਏ ਨੇ, ਤੇਰੇ ਕੋਲ ਟਾਈਮ ਨਹੀਂ ਹੈ ਕਿ ਉਹਨਾਂ ਦੇ ਕੱਛੇ ਲੈਣ ਦੀ. तो she went pale in her face. I said, गुरुजी ਤੁਹਾਨੂੰ ਕਿਵੇਂ ਪਤਾ? गुरुजी ਕਹਿੰਦੇ ਨੇ ਹੋਰ ਸੁਣ ਅਗਲਾ ਬੁਲੇਟਿਨ. ਤੇਰਾ ਸਵੇਰੇ ਤੂੰ ਇੱਕ ਪਰੌਂਠਾ ਖਾਇਆ, ਦੂਜਾ ਤੂੰ ਛੱਕਣ ਵਾਲੀ ਸੀ, ਤੂੰ ਸੋਚਿਆ ਜਾ ਕੇ ਦਿਨੇ ਲੰਗਰ ਵੀ ਛਕਣਾ ਹੈ, ਉਹ ਤੂੰ ਛੱਡ ਆਈ ਉੱਥੇ. ਤੇ with every passing minute she was going pale. ਗੁਰਜੀ ਕਹਿੰਦੇ ਹੋਰ ਸੁਣ ਤੇਰੇ ਫ੍ਰਿਜ ਵਿੱਚ ਨਾ 6 ਅੰਡੇ ਨੇ, 5 ਤੇ ਸਹੀ ਹੈ, ਇੱਕ ਵੀ ਦਰਾਰ ਆ ਗਈ, ਉਹਨੂੰ ਸੜਨੀ ਖਰਾਬ ਹੋ ਗਿਆ. So what I'm trying to tell you is that he knew anything and everything about everybody. So we all had a great laugh at the auntie's expense at that point of time. But when he used to come up with these things, and then there was these one-liners that Guruji used to basically keep for all sects of people. For example, BDS, a dentist for that matter, he would say BDS stands for Batti Dandada Sarvnash, or LLB for ਲੜੋ ਲੜੋ ਭਾਈਓ, ਲੜੋ ਲੜੋ ਬਹਿਨੋ. ਇਹ ਲੋਕਾਂ ਨੂੰ ਲੜਾਉਂਦੇ ਹੀ ਰਹਿੰਦੇ ਨੇ, ਇਹਨਾਂ ਦਾ ਕੰਮ ਨਹੀਂ ਚੱਲਣਾ ਜਦੋਂ ਤੱਕ ਲੋਕੀ ਨਾ ਲੜਨ. CPWD is cash paid, work done. I mean, as I told you,
laugh a minute right with him. So anyways, this all went by, this basically visit of ours to Jalandhar. And the day we were that particular year, it had rained a lot in Jalandhar, so much so that all the whole city was waterlogged. And from Defense Colony to this railway station, which was hardly about, normally not more than a 10 or 15-minute drive in an auto. But because of the rainy conditions and the water logging, the only form of commuting left to us was a cycle rickshaw, and that would take us almost close to about 50 minutes to an hour just to get to the railway station, and probably all wet, in the sense that there was so much of water logging, almost 2 feet, 3 feet of water all everywhere. So, anyways, we were supposed to come back by Shatabdi, which somehow, if my memory serves me right, reaches Jalandhar from Amritsar at around 4 o'clock, had a 2 minute halt, and then reaches Delhi by 11 o'clock. I guess that was it. So, anyways, at around 12 in the afternoon, as I told you, and I told the satsang of Singla auntie also about the sleep and stuff. The Guruji just basically, उनकी ऐसी माया थी, 12 साढ़े 12 बजे दिन में वहाँ बत्ती चले गई. I mean there was no electricity, and he somehow एक दीवार का सहारा लेके गुरुजी ने अंदर हॉल के अंदर ही he just sat down there. He closed his eyes and feigned that he had slept. I'm using the word feigned because I know for a fact he never sleeps. And since वहाँ पे बत्ती चले गई, I took hold of that वो बड़ा वाला this fan, where जो बड़े fan नहीं होते हाथ वाले, so I started fanning him with him, saying that since there was no electricity, the fans were not on, and there was so much of humidity, and I thought probably he would perspire a lot, and so I started basically fanning him. Now that was so huge. Normally, it would not. I, for one, would not have been able to perform that for more than a couple of minutes or maybe 5 minutes or so. But with him behind me, I could do it for almost say half an hour to 45 minutes. And by the minute, since we were my both my moms were getting frantic in the sense, and they अपनी कलाई की तरफ point करके बताया जाके भाई, we have a train to board, and probably if we don't leave, then we will not be able to make it. But I told them कि मैं किस तरह गुरुजी को उठा दूं. I mean he seems to have dozed off, and I don't want to wake him. So after about close to 1 hour or so, whatever, I mean, we would have missed the deadline, of course, by then. Guruji just got up with a start and said, "तुसी गए नहीं? ਤੁਹਾਡੀ तो ट्रेन से गई आज. कोई नहीं, आज 6 बजे जाओगी." So I said, "हा हा, इन्होंने कह दिया और हो गया." ऐसा थोड़ा होता है. I mean, इनके कहने से थोड़ा टाइम टेबल चलते हैं ट्रेन के. So, anyways, somehow uh, we got hold of our belongings, and with Guruji's blessings, we left, and we reached the railway station by 4:45, thinking that, of course, now we will have to make our fresh arrangements, in the sense that we would have missed our Shatabdi, which would have arrived on time at 4 o'clock. And we were in for a massive surprise because we were told that the train is late and it would only arrive at 6 o'clock, the very time that Guruji had told us in the mandir. So I said, Jai Guruji. But then again, you see, after all these, the so-called miracles, I won't call them miracles because this is what God does for a living. I mean, these are miracles for us, but this is what He always does. I mean, His word is law. So, anyways, we came back, and this is also how another day was saved. Then again, this, as I told you, this was my first visit to him in Jalandhar, and after that, we had a couple of more visits. And the second one was more memorable in the sense that this was the time when, after which, he asked me for something. You would say that how can I say that he asked me for something, because he is the one who gives everything to all of us. Well, listen till the very end, and you will find it so very hilarious. Anyways, uh, I when I started going to Guruji, initially I'd gone him for my asthma, my bronchitis problem. But then we'd been married for 3 years, and my wife, she had 2 miscarriages by then, and her the gynae, who happened to be my wife's aunt as well, cousin aunt, she counseled us after her second miscarriage and told us that, Varun, Shelly, don't even try this time around, because her uterus, Shelly's uterus, is very weak, and she will not be able to carry the pregnancies through. So it is much better that now she's a Padma Shri doctor, Dr. Sheila Mehra, Mulchand Hospital. Some people would have uh, heard her. Anyways, I will just cut it short. Give me just 5 more minutes and I'll round it all up. So, in the sense, somehow with Guruji's grace, we had two back-to-back daughters. We had back-to-back daughters, and there was once somebody, I would not like to name in the Sangha, that Guruji once told me, Varan, मैं फला ਨੂੰ ਬੱਚਾ ਦਿੱਤਾ ਹੈ, ਇਹ ਆਪਣਾ ਤੇਵਾ ਕਟਾ ਕੇ ਵੇਖ ਲੈ, ਬੱਚੇ ਦਾ ਯੋਗ ਨਹੀਂ ਸਿਖਾਏ ਦੇ ਵਿੱਚ. Since he said this to me, I also know for a fact that if I were to get uh, I were to get my teva made, then बच्चे का कोई योग नहीं था उसमें. It was with Guruji's grace. Guruji is God. ਰੱਬ ਦਾ ਲਿਖਿਆ ਉਹੀ ਬਦਲ ਸਕਦੇ ਨੇ. He changed destiny so that I could have children. I have two very blessed children with Guruji's grace. This is not where it ends. I would just like to bring the finale. Now, as I told you, the very first time that we went to Jalandhar and about all this, and then secondly, I was the first in my family when my I'm getting repeated requests. Do you want me to stop? I am not able to concentrate on what I want to tell you. If you want me to stop, then fair enough. Guruji's will. Auntie, if you could just tell me if I've gone on for too long.
Varun, uncle, you will have to give me some more time any day because you have so many satsangs.
No. I just wanted to finish this one thing, and probably then we'll get to talk about it when you say this.
Yeah. We are so blessed to hear your satsangs, really.
Just 2 minutes if it
जय
is
गुरुजी
okay.
अंकल, प्लीज
हाँ जी,
आप जैसे आए खसम की बानी, हम तो ये मानते हैं जो गुरुजी आपके मन में डाल रहे हैं हम लोग श्रवण कर रहे हैं. तो प्लीज
2 मिनट
जरूर
अगर आप दे सकते हो तो.
अरे अंकल 2 मिनट नहीं, आप पूरा सत्संग करिए अंकल.
आप सत्संग शेयर करो.
हमारे कोई लिमिटेशन नहीं अंकल. जैसे गुरुजी बुलवा रहे हैं वैसे आप बोल रहे हो तो हम सुनने बैठे हैं अंकल.
मैं सत्संग इसलिए भी नहीं करता बिकॉज आई ऑलवेज, गुरुजी ने ना हमेशा हमें मतलब पुरानी संगत को मना किया हुआ है कि प्रिंट और इलेक्ट्रॉनिक मीडियम में नहीं बोलना. द फर्स्ट टाइम आई केम आउट विद इट वाज टू सेलिब्रेट आवर एसोसिएशन विद हिम फॉर 25 years. And today, I mean, a couple of days back, I got a message from somebody that Guruji wants me to do Shukrana. I know what the reason is. Probably at some later stage, I will be able to share that satsang also with you. That is why it is. I am being very selfish. I know it is not because of you people. I am doing this Shukrana for my own self. I am very selfish. But please let me finish this within 2 minutes, okay?
No, uncle, we have sufficient. We have lot of time to hear your satsang.
Okay, fair
the
enough.
time is not the not
टाइम
any.
बिल्कुल अंकल, थोड़ा टाइम की कोई
concern.
पाबंदी नहीं है. प्लीज आपको जैसे गुरुजी बुलवाना चाह रहे हैं आप वैसे करिए.
मैं अगली बार जरूर करूंगा. बस मेरे को एक ये जो बेसिकली लिंक है ना, बिकॉज आई एम ऑल्सो रनिंग 54 नाउ, 54 years. So there are times when the flow of thought, if it breaks now, then it takes me a little bit of time to basically get back. Anyways, please let me continue and we can talk later. Okay. So I was the first in my family to go to Guruji when my Buaji told me about him. And us time na, when I used to come back and I used to share all that had happened over there with Tarun and Sabina Bhabhi, somehow they never went to him at that point of time. It was only once it so happened that, you see, then again I have kami sort of made me thi hamesha. I was always wrong, and my thought process, this time Guruji mainu kanjara kehte se ke for a reason. I was a kanjar, no doubt about it. I could see that so many. I was young at that point of time, and there were so many pretty ladies. Basically, somebody pressing his feet, somebody pressing his head, and I could say, "Eh, kida de guru hai." I mean, औरतों को लो सेवा लेन देना है, दिमाग पे चल रहा है. I know I was wrong, but I have to come out with it because, you see, I don't have this holier than thou thing. I know where I come from, how, in spite of all my shortcomings, he's accepted me. That is the beauty of him. So, anyways, I said, "Yaar, eh kida de guru again." So, on that particular day when he was giving me agya, he told me, "Varun, मैं ਤੁਹਾਨੂੰ ਜਿੱਥੋਂ ਵੇਖਣਾ ਵਾ ਤੁਸੀਂ ਮੈਨੂੰ ਆਦਮੀ ਔਰਤ ਨਹੀਂ ਦਿਸਦੇ ਤੁਸੀਂ ਸਭ ਮੈਨੂੰ ਕੀੜੇ ਮકોੜੇ ਦਿਸਦੇ ਹੋ." So I said, wow, what an answer. मेरे को I got my answer कि मेरी सोच कितनी गंदी थी कि मैं किसी को आदमी या औरत समझ के सोच रहा था. So anyways, I went back and I narrated this incident to Tarun and Sabina Bhabhi. That clicked for them. I mean, that is what made my brother say, I would like to go to him. So the next day, they also accompanied me. And what do I see after a couple of weeks that Guruji साड़ी ते जल्दी छुट्टी कर देंदे सीगे KPK खाओ पियो किसको, and he used to basically make them stay till 4 o'clock, 5 o'clock in the morning. And I was so very pissed off. I said, यार ऐ क्या यार basically मैं लेके गया, ईगो मेरे में इतनी थी कि मैं इनको लेके गया, ये तो यार जम ही गए, गुरुजी मुझे इग्नोर कर देते हैं और इनको यहाँ बैठाए रखते हैं, हो ना हो गुरुजी के ना ये कान भर रहे होंगे, मतलब somehow कि गुरुजी मुझसे irritated है. This is what I felt at that point of time. And since he was my elder brother and we come from a joint family, we had joint business. So whatever he basically said, I always used to oppose him in business also. He could not realize anything and I will see things from within. Because दिमाग में ये आना कि यार गुरुजी ये तो छा गए हैं वहाँ पे और मेरे को तो गुरुजी ने बाहर कर दिया एक तरीके से. So anyways, ये होता रहा, and now, as I told you, Shelly was pregnant with my first child now. And it so happened at that point of time, Guruji was in Jalandhar. He had blessed us with children, but he was in Jalandhar after that. And it was decided that Tarun and Sabina Babi were to go to him on a particular weekend. And then when they would come back, we would follow suit in the next weekend. Though the jealousy had already seeped in, and so when they went there, he came back very happy, very blessed, and he said, Varun Guruji was very happy, blessed you all, and he's given a message for you. मैंने क्या मैसेज दिया? तो उन्होंने कहा, उसने कहा कि वरुण गुरुजी ने कहा है कि वरुण अजय कहीं अगले हफ्ते ना आए. So I said, what the heck यार, अपनी तो ब्लेसिंग ले ली इसने, मेरी बारी आई तो अपनी मन से ही बोल दिया कि नहीं है, ऐसे थोड़ा बोल सकते हैं, मेरे गुरुजी मेरे को कैसे बोल सकते हैं ऐसे? मैं तो जाऊंगा, मेरा प्रोग्राम बना हुआ है. That is what I told him, those very exact words, that मेरा प्रोग्राम बना हुआ है. So I went there as per my program. Now this time around, as soon as I entered the दरबार मंदिर के अंदर जलंधर में, Guruji looked at me and said, "ਤੁਹਾਨੂੰ तो मैं मना कराया ਸੀਗਾ, माड़ा करा लगता है." And this is what he told. तो मैं कहा, गुरुजी फिर आप वापस जाइए. गुरुजी कहते ना ना ਤੁਸੀਂ प्रोग्राम बना के आए, अपने प्रोग्राम ਨਾਲ ही जाना. Those very words जो मैंने तरुण को बोला, मेरा तो प्रोग्राम बना है, मैं तो जाऊंगा अपने प्रोग्राम से. And believe me, for those 2 days, forget about talking to us. He did not even talk to us. तो एक बात है, he did not even look at us. Look at the whole day, look at the side where we were sitting. The whole day would go on, and the other Sangat people from the local Sangat from Jalandhar would look at us and say, यार दिल्ली दे बड़े मतलब the much loved Sangat है कि ये ते गुरुजी इन्होंने नाल गाली नहीं करे. And it was, the feeling was so, I mean, दिल करे कि धरती फट जाए और मैं समा जाऊं. I mean, I can't even, it was so embarrassing for the 4 of us that हमने अपनी मन की कर रहे हैं और मतलब it was as if we have just committed such a big crime and everybody's prying eyes were on you. So anyways, this all ended, though he made arrangements for all of us on our stay in Jalandhar, but he did not talk to us at all. So when we came back, इसके बावजूद भी ना jealousy कम नहीं हुई, अब तो और बढ़ गई. I thought probably when the last time that Tarun Sabina had gone to Jalandhar, that time he would have basically talked something wrong about me to Guruji that made him do all this. So anyways, this thing also ended. Now Guruji came to Delhi and he called me once and he said, Varun, तेरे कोलों कुछ चीज मंगा तू देगा? मैं ना गुरुजी सब कुछ ਤੁਹਾਡਾ ਦਿੱਤਾ ਹੋਇਆ, ਹੁਕਮ ਦਿਓ ਮੈਂ ਕੀ ਦਵਾਂ ਤੁਹਾਨੂੰ। ਤੇ ਗੁਰਜੀ ਕਹਿੰਦੇ ਨੇ ਵਰਨ ਇਹ ਤੇਰੀ ਜਿਹੜੀ ਜੈਲਸੀ ਹੈਗੀ ਹੈ ਨਾ, ਇਹ ਤੇਰੀ ਖੁਦ ਦੀ ਕਮਾਈ ਹੈ, ਤੈਂ ਖੁਦ ਕਮਾਈ ਹੈ, ਇਹ ਮੈਨੂੰ ਦੇ ਦੇ, ਇਹ ਮੈਂ ਤੈਨੂੰ ਨਹੀਂ ਦਿੱਤੀ। I cried a river that day because you see, we all have skeletons in the cupboard. I, for one, had this big skeleton in my, and I knew, we all know when we are wrong. It is just that our ego stops us from admitting that we are wrong. So I said, Guruji, thank you. And I cried a river and बहुत माफी मैंने अपने भाई भाभी से भी मांगी, गुरुजी से भी मांगी. So I, this was what I was saying, that I gave something to Guruji. We all have all these skeletons in the cupboard. We all have something like this to give to Guruji, because वो गुणों का सागर है, और हमारे गुनाह की 2-4-5 बूंदे बाल्टियां भी अगर उस सागर में चले जाएं तो सागर को कुछ फर्क नहीं पड़ना, पर हम तर जाएंगे. So this was one thing that I wanted to end the satsang with. There are a lot, many more, but I am basically, as it is going against the dictate of my guru, when he always told me to keep it short. Jai Guruji, it was so much of a pleasure sharing all this with all my brothers and sisters. Thank you, Guruji. Shukrana Guruji. Love you, Guruji.
Thank you, Guruji.